Okay, everyone. So I guess the pre-show we were talking a little bit about Pokemon, but that's kind of like neither here for there for Saturn. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to get off the topic of pocket monsters and onto the topic of more generic JRPGs. Although I guess we could technically do what we're doing tonight for Pokemon if we really were going in that direction. So what are we doing today? We are trying to make a menu system. Now, this is something that has eluded me for several years, because every time I get to making a menu, I get frustrated and annoyed, and I end up not wanting to do it, and I just end up dropping the project. So if you go on my website and you see Cashboa, Cashboa has no menus, and that is the reason why Cashboa is exactly the link that it is, because I just did not want to finish that menu system. It was too annoying to work on, and I was also working in Unity and mobile, and everything was just a big headache for me. We'll see if I will overcome that tonight. So the starting point, the first thing we need to take care of is just to get like a quick visual of what the menus looks like. I'm too lazy to make the art for that, so instead I'm going to steal it. So let's just take Final Fantasy. I don't know why I'm talking about Final Fantasy. We can take Phantasy Star 4. This is a favorite of mine, and we're just going to take a clean screenshot of it. And copy that. And we're going to split that up into... let me just get into Paint real quick first, just to do the hard part, or the easy part, or whatever part. So I'm just going to make, I guess, 8x8 squares. Is that fair? Can I do 8x8 here? There we go. That's an 8x8. Oh, crap. 8x8. Now, what I don't remember is how to do rotation. So I'm going to make some redundant sprites here, just to make sure I do it right. Go. We do that a few more times. And remember, our sprites have to be 8 wide for the Saturn to support it and load it up into memory and actually have it display something useful. Come on. And then I'm just going to import this into GIMP with the palette that I'm using and export it the same way we exported it last week. Come on. So we get all our corner pieces. We'll get all our straight ends, and then we'll just fill the middle with, I guess, some segment over here. Actually, some segment over here should probably be sprite 0. That would make more sense for me, but here, I'll just keep that off to the side for now. So while I'm blatantly stealing Phantasy Star art assets, let's talk about the game plan for how this is going to get done. So, I can't really pronounce his name properly, because it's just a jumble of letters or whatever, but I'm just going to call him Mr. Kotfu, who is a known quantity in the Saturn homebrew environment, and he gave me a lot of helpful information. Not all of it I had time to review before today's stream. That's what makes this stream fun, is that you get to see me struggle while I try to figure out what the heck is going on. So, the long and short of it is that I have to make a compact, generalizable structure where I can just arbitrarily add elements into it and just still have it make some amount of sense of work. And we're going to do that with a tree, and I'm going to make that tree today using a linked list approach. So I'm not a computer scientist, so I'm going to do my best to make a cargo cult explanation of linked lists. There we go. started on the wrong end. Oh, wait. Yeah, forget it. I'll just go around. So once we get to the programming segment of today, we'll just do a quick... Here's what a linked list kind of looks like, based off of me misremembering my computer science class from several years ago that I didn't even attend, because it was somewhat unnecessary to attend lectures. And from there, we will try to build our menu structure, which will be able to house more or less arbitrary submenus and display them in an order that makes sense. Now let me start copying from here. I don't have to keep moving around. Why can't I count? There we go. Okay, so how am I displaying these guys? If I go into last week's code, because that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm taking the base code that I wrote for Forsaken Plain, which, I mean, in reality, was more or less done in 5 days, because I pretty much scrapped and deleted everything before it, was based off of Ponut's TGA loading code, and I believe SGL. So let me, where the crap did I put it? Oh, there we go. Joe Engine. Projects. Where are we looking at? What did I do last week? Minesweeper? Minesweeper. There we go. I forgot I ported Minesweeper. Part of Minesweeper is the sprite function. Sprite, please set sprite. SL set sprite. So if we are using SGL routines to set down the sprites, then I'm pretty sure we're going to want to go into the documentation and look up how we do certain things. So I know that we are starting with SL set sprite. There we go. So if I want to manipulate the sprite, like flip or rotate it, we'll give this a shot. We'll try rotating the sprite with a modified sprite placement code using SLZRote or whatever. I'm just making sure that what I'm trying to do is actually get at work. And now we're already in other stuff. Well, just to be safe, I'm going to keep all the rotated versions in the sprite sheet just in case anyway. I only have one more segment to go. Nope. And gotta keep my mouse hand steady. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit now. Oh, I can't go any further? Nope, okay. So let's just move this down 8 pixels. Move this over 8 pixels. And this should be sufficient for a sprite sheet of 8x8 tiles that I will use to just plop a menu on screen. If I want to round out the corners, maybe I can do that. Or at least add transparencies, you know? So, okay, we need GIMP now. Where's GIMP? More importantly, where are my 2D assets? There we go. So let's open up last week's test.tga, which we know worked with GIMP. Just give it a minute. There we go. And we have, what is it? 9 tiles that are 8 tall. So 9 by 8 is what? 72. So we need an 8 by 72 space. So let's go ahead and resize our image. 8, 72, 72. Go and go ahead and resize it to where is it? Layered image size. There we go. Zoom in a bit more. I don't like that shade of blue. I thought we had a nicer shade of blue. I mean, I guess it doesn't really have to be blue either, but I remember this looking a fair bit more bright, vibrant. I guess it was kind of dark. I mean, can we get less dark though? That's a bit much. That's kind of like a, you know, eye bleeding effect there. I wonder if we can make it green though. Will that be harmful to anyone's eyes if I try to make it like a greenish color? Nah, I don't like that. Try to make this more emerald theme. That can work. I feel like this can work. I'll take this. Let's make this a little bit brighter. And let's add some transparent segments to try and... Oop, okay. Give it a little bit of depth. Or complexity or something. That's the way I'm going to be displaying these. It should work out anyway. There we go. Looks like it'll work out. I should probably drag the bottom of this thing up so you guys can see everything down here. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is I forgot to make sure Mednafen properly fit the screen. So let me I'll get to that when I get to that anyway. So you guys see what's going on here. We're taking the menu from Phantasy Star 4. We're changing it up just a little bit, changing the color theme, but otherwise making it more or less the same. Let me go ahead and save this as... Let's just check. Image. Index... Okay, so everything looks like it can stay the same. So let's save as... menu. And then we'll export a menu.tga file. No compression, and I believe you wanted top left. Okay, yeah, that looks like it came out right. Alright. So, okay, sprite, or the art portion of today's stream is pretty quick. Now, let's go ahead and copy last week's Minesweeper code and just move it over a bit. Change some things around. see. Engine, projects, and Minesweeper. 2 megabytes. Why is it 2 megabytes big? That's a little bit much. Okay, so from Minesweeper, we're changing this to. I'm just going to call this a menu. I don't know if I'm going to make this part of Forsaken Plane or not. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with Forsaken Plane. I know I've got suggestions to add like a complex item system for it. I kind of want to keep it live action, which is kind of an antithetical to what this menu thing I'm doing is. But, you know, I'm open to ideas. If any of you guys actually played Forsaken Plane, if you have any suggestions for the direction the game would go, I'm thinking of like completely redoing the entire concept, like having it play completely differently. Like, it's tile-based right now, it doesn't have to be tile-based, it doesn't even have to be live action. That can be a freaking Pokemon clone for all I care. I mean, the setting's important, but that's about it. Okay, so let's swap over to this version of the code. So we have main. Let's also get our make file open. That's always important. Let me just go ahead and run the cleaner too. There we go. The object files are gone. Make file, we got our main. And this is no longer. I'm just going to call this a menu. Jeez. My computer complaining about stuff. Hey, it's Mr. Kotfu. We mentioned you earlier. So, I did not have time to see that video that you showed me because I was too busy editing some patent stuff. But for now, we are just going to kind of wing it and go with a tree of, you know, linked list objects and see how we do. How is this in main? Why is that in main? Should that be in main? I'm not about to mess with it right now. Okay, first off, let us load up Draw HUD. That's probably in Sprite or something. It's not in Sprite, it's in Menu or one of these guys. So, we already made our sprite sheet. Let me just try to... Where the heck is the thing that I'm looking for? We got load palette, load ASCII, set sprite. I bet you load HUD or whatever the equivalent is somewhere in menu.c. There we go. So, I should probably move over the actual sprite sheet that I'm using. That would be a smart idea. So we have, in my 2D sprite folder, we got, where is it? Menu.tga, right? That's what I called it. There we go. Copy that, paste it over to the CD folder. For now, let's just call the mine sprite ID menu.tga. Make them 8 wide as opposed to 10 wide. Don't need this anymore. So let's just real quick kind of get rid of the logic of this and this. Let's just see how this thing draws in just on screen. So we'll do it in the center. X is equal to do some quick screen coordinates. Integer x. This could be equal to, call this minus 320 divided by 2. And y is going to be minus 244 divided by 2. That way I don't have to think about math anymore. That's the size of our screen. I'm going to reset this every loop. Oh, no, we don't have to do that. I'm going to make int I is equal to 0. It's going to be our sprite, or okay, draw sprite ID. We're just going to real quick see how these things turn out. It'll be x plus 8 times I. Or no, draw sprite ID. Z, let's just make that 110. I know that works. Color bank 0. Texture number. What do you call that? There we go. Mine sprite ID plus sprite draw number. It's going to be equal to 0, and this is going to be sprite draw number plus plus. And then we can do this 8 times, right? 9 times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 8 plus 1. We don't need logical state. Go ahead and pull for input if you want. Don't need to parse the input. We do want an SL sync, though. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's see how this goes. Oh, now's a good time to check on Mednafend and make sure it's actually covering the part of the screen I want it to cover. Anytime now. Why is this going so slowly? I don't get it. It's like abnormally slow. What's going on? Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of stuff on the bottom of the screen. Let's fix that. There we go. Now, the sprites seem to be drawing a little bit off of the correct coordinate. Or no, wait, that's right, they're just smaller than I'm expecting. So that's good. Wait, are they? No, they're just like one pixel off. Is my Y wrong? Let me just try putting it at 0. At the center of the screen or something. Am I remembering the coordinates wrong? The screen coordinates should be from, I mean, the resolution should be 32244, right? Is what we're working with. Oh, don't need this anymore. Okay, so that's what I expected to draw. So now the next thing we need is we need to be able to give it a number, essentially how many tiles in the middle we want to draw. So I'll give it, we'll have like an X and a Y, whatchamacallit, dimensionality to the text box. EBT, how are you even doing that? I thought we took that away from you from when you guys move off to buy IRC onto Discord. Anyway, so let's go ahead and make our quick menu box displayer. Just open up the right folder here. We're going to need our menu.h because we're going to add a new function. We want that in our header. So void draw menu box. And what's going to go into that? I believe that. I honestly believe that. I believe that he managed to do that. He's just that imposing. So we're going to start with our x coordinate, our y coordinate, x tiles, y tiles. What else are we going to want? Layer. We need a layer, and that's going to come into play later when we start doing nested menus. The deeper in the layer, the closer to the screen you should be. So I think layers will start at 0, and that gets drawn onto layer 110. And then we'll have it be able to back up all the way up to 101 or something like that. So I'll show you how that one goes. So we're going to have... There we go. Down here. Let me go back to actually documenting my code properly. So draw, menu. Do we want more or less on the screen? I feel like this is slightly off what it should look like. And there we go. All pretty much pixel perfect. Nope. Just there we go. That makes me feel better. Okay, so draw menu at X, Y on screen with specified internal tiles and layer 0 to 9. 9 closer. And we're just going to do a basic for loop. Int I equals 0. Hey, thanks for the follow, Yellow Tie. I don't recognize your name. Is this your first time on stream? Feel free to join chat. I enjoy everyone coming in, if only just to say hi and leave. Okay. If I may ask, how'd you find me? Oh, okay, neat. Those actually work. Half the time I forget them, and I'm not sure whether or not they're even worth the trouble of trying to put it in. But hey, if we got a new guy in Saturn Homebrew because of this, then I'll keep doing it. Yeah. So since this is your first time, I'll try to kind of break down what's going on here. I'm kind of between projects right now because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with my life in general, but more specifically the Sega Saturn. So I do Sega Saturn homebrew projects, and essentially what I do is I take the Sega graphics library and Joe engine. If you go down and scroll down in the description or whatever you call these panels down below the video box, you'll see all the links you need to get started if you want to try developing stuff for the Sega Saturn yourself. The Sega Saturn is kind of unique in the difficulty involved in developing for it because of all the different chips inside of it and what it takes to actually try to get anything done with it. That looks right. Okay, good. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to make like a generic JRPG menu system so that it's kind of expandable to whatever you want to apply it for. And this is kind of like one of my sticking points personally. Like, I don't think it's intellectually more difficult than anything else I normally do. The problem is I just have a bad history with this part of any game design project. This is usually where once I get to the point where I have to design intricate menus, I've already gotten to the point where I'm no longer working on the project seriously, or I'm just kind of on the verge of giving up. But today, I'm going to actually do it and make sure it gets done. So, How are we doing this? Now let's do an if statement. So first thing we have to do is the top row. So if I is equal to 0, this is going to be our top row. Else if I is going to be equal to this number minus 1. That's going to be our bottom row. And then else it's going to be middle segment. So, okay, for the top row, we need to make sure that the first thing we write is the top left corner. So that's going to be another nested if statement. This is probably not the cleanest way of doing this, but this is the way I'm doing this. So I'm sure there was an intelligent way of arranging all the tiles in... let's just keep this thing open so I actually know what I'm looking at. So tile 0 is just a blank tile. That's going to be our generic else case. Actually, you know what? I can do this whole thing as just... I don't have to do nested ifs. I can just do... I can just do if-ands. And j equal to 0. I'll just call this top left corner. Draw sprite ID is equal to... Ah, crap, I already forgot what I made. This guy. We should probably rename this. It shouldn't be mines, it should be menu. Menu sprite ID. Menu. Okay, so that's there. I don't need the HUD right now. Menu box, there we go. So we got our top left corner, and let's steal the code from over in Ya. It's gonna be 8 times I. All right, no, we don't need this here. We want this after all this stuff. This is going to be actually draw, and the rest of the stuff is just going to be selecting. It's going to be y plus 8 times j, and then there's going to be 110 minus layer. We'll keep the color bank the same as it was. Sprite ID is going to be plus draw sprite ID. Okay, there we go. We're going to start with 0. That way we don't have to handle the cases where it's not anything special. So the top left corner. This could be equal to, I believe, 1. And then we handle the top right. Top right corner, J... No, I. Wait, X or Y? X, Y, it's gonna be the first X, then the last Y. There we go. I don't know why sometimes these things get me backwards, because when you're doing stuff in MATLAB and you do this mesh grid thing where you turn 2 1Ds into 1 2D, it for some reason rotate it because I guess it makes more sense, but it doesn't mean it always throws me off. Neither here nor there. Point is, this should work. Else if. In some languages, else if is one word. Not in this case. Next tile. Bottom left. So bottom left would be j equals 0, right? No, I got this backwards. Darn. Okay. Okay, top right corner. X. X is the X coordinate. Y is the Y coordinate. I should just keep that in my head and not try to reverse it. Okay. So in this case, here we're gonna have bottom left corner, and that's where Y is its biggest value. And keep in mind, when we go in the positive Y direction, that's going down on screen, because this is a right-handed system where Z is going forward. So you're looking in the Z direction, so Y is going down and X is going to your right. Okay, that's third, fourth. Sprite graphics look. Well, right now what I'm dealing with is these guys. So I'm dealing with the corner cases, and then I'm going to deal with the edge cases. And then after that, if it doesn't match any of these cases, I'm just going to do this green blank. And hopefully the way I've spaced it out, it should just work. I don't follow. Corners A, B, C, and D. So I don't understand how that's different than what I'm trying to do right now, though. Oh, scaling sprites? I mean, we can play around with SGL. If you know offhand how to do that, because right now, my sprite placing scheme is just SL set sprite. But I don't have a thing where I can scale in one direction and not another without figuring out what I need to do based off of the SGL documentation. And considering, I don't know why, but for some reason I get the feeling that I've tried put sprite and display sprite before, but it didn't quite work out. I'm not sure what changed. I don't know if it has anything to do with me using a color mapped approach. I mean, for now, I'm kind of fine with just tiling the sprites on screen, because this is essentially going to be a handful of extra quads in a 2D environment. Maybe I use this for 3D environment, I don't know. I mean, I could always just try to, you know, show off and steal some Final Fantasy VII stuff. Try to port it over with quads and Blender and use Z-Trim tools and put it on screen. See if I can't, like, do a soft port of a single Final Fantasy VII battle, just to show that it can be done. But that seems like a lot of work to do something I don't want to do. but it would settle a handful of arguments on the internet, I think, if that were to happen. Okay, in the other case, x equals 0 means what? It means we're on the left-hand side. That means I should be doing the top. So the top is j equals 0. Top. 5. And on the right, it's going to be I is equal to this thing. Top, right, bottom, left. Okay, there we go. Bottom, okay. Bottom is gonna be j is equal to this crap. 2. There we go. And that's gonna be 7, and then left is gonna be 8, our final sprite. Everything else is just draw sprite ID equals 0 as default. I'll just do that as a final else case. Bottom left is going to be I equals 0. Else middle okay, let's see if that actually works. I mean, it should. Let's put this at X, Y, and let's give it 0 and 0 as our first test case just to see how it do. Put it on layer 0. And let's just add 4 to this, just to stress it out. 4. And let's put it on layer 1. Do that right? No, not that one. Yeah, last thing's a layer. Okay. So yeah, this do. Oh boy, what did I screw up this time? Decimal, num-des, what is it? Mine's spread ID undeclared in 194. Oh, I changed one thing. I did. Oh, okay. Well, actually, that's all it took. I guess the warnings I can get to later, if at all. Oh, you got me crap. Okay, first off, let's not include mine anymore because this is no longer Minesweeper. And let's double not include it by getting it out the freaking make file. There we go. Why is this so slow today? It's weird how slow it is, right? I don't have anything writing in the background. Blank mines. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. In main. Oh, we don't need blank mines anymore. That's not happening. Nor do we need to, wait, is init game this thing? Yeah, oh, it's that thing. Okay. We definitely need to do that, though. There's no reason for this to be this slow. It doesn't make any sense. There we go. Now, if I did this right, we should have two menu things, one on top of the other with a slight offset. There we go. That's pretty much exactly what I was going for. Okay. Now, maybe I can try putting this at the top left portion of the screen. Should do 240 just to be safe. And we'll give this guy 10 wide, 1 tall, and then we'll get this guy 4 wide and 4 tall. We're like 50 minutes into the stream. I've been kind of like at cruising speed, not really like going super hard at it. And we have already got something that looks like kind of okay looking. We still got to put words on it, yeah. We'll come up with more functions. Also, we need to come up with the actual linked list structure. I promised to show you guys that. Okay, so you guys see how that can like turn into an actual proper battle system, right? You put some words on there, you get some you know, selections going. So, okay, let's start making the structure that is actually going to hold this menu information. And now I have to go back and Google how to do a struct. Okay, let me see. Struct in C. That's a problem. You keep going in and out of a certain language and then you totally forget what you're doing. I remember doing this a little bit different. In fact, I'm almost certain I did. Here, let me go into the files for Forsaken Plane, and actor.h I believe has. There we go. This is an unused struct, but it is functional. Actually, let me just use the character, which may have been like what actor turned into after I forgot I made that file. There we go. Let's make a menu item struct. Call this a menu item. We can get rid of all this extra stuff. You don't need to know about that. Menu item struct. Holds menu items. No, it is in a menu item. Okay, so links to other submenus, or I guess menu actions. I'm trying to figure out what this is good for. Menu actions. There we go. So, first things first. We'll have an array. Thing is, we need to have like a maximum size. So we're gonna have we're gonna make it into a certain size. So x. Do menu size, number of elements in each direction, we have number of elements in the x direction, number of elements in the y direction. So we can make a menu into like a table. We can make it into, I guess, a row or a column if need be. And we can have it wrap in a certain way. Actually, I feel like with all these, I'm gonna end up having to do a lot more stuff. So let me just make a separate menu item. Menu item header file. Menu item. We'll keep menu open too, just in case, because one's going to point to another. We'll have menu also include menu item, and then we'll use menu. What is that? Oh, that wasn't supposed to stay there. Go. Menu item. We'll include it, and then we'll have menu item. Like I was saying, menu would be kind of like a wrapper utility for menu item. I'm not going to include any of this other crap in here. Well, maybe I'll include sprite in there. Sprite and input. Don't need mine. In fact, that doesn't need mine either. Is that still in there? No. Good. Okay. Menu item. Here we go. Okay. Get rid of this other crap. We have the menu size, X and Y, and we're going to have, I guess, number of characters wide would be the appropriate thing to do. So, int charlim. Maybe let's spell that correctly. Charlim. Maximum character count for menu item. Now, here is a question for those of you that are actually properly good at C, is I want this thing to be kind of like arbitrarily callable. How do you point to a function? How do you store a pointer to a function or a function call? Is that a thing that you can do? I mean, it's a thing that you can do somewhere, somehow. But is there a quick and easy way to do that in C? Like a pointer to an actual function? Let me quickly look that up. So, okay. Let's call this let's copy that code real quick and see what it looks like. Void, pointer, void. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how this actually works out. Okay, so this is new territory for me. So X has a property called call, and the call is just a generic kind of pointer. Yeah. So this is the first time I'm doing something like this. So I'm just kind of like slowly absorbing what's going on. So let's say our struct here is just there to hold the pointer to the function. Yeah. So call is a pointer to the function. If you call x arrow, okay, x arrow call is just basically set it equal to the function. So let's say I made void example with input a. All right. So how would I go about doing this? Would it look like that? Okay, I'm not sure if I'm following what this is for. This thing. So the function that I'm using as an example, it is a void function, but it takes an argument as input. Okay, let me look at that real quick. Huh. So in the case of, let's call this example 2, int a, int b, would I then have type def like this? But the int is just, all I'm doing is I'm telling it there is a certain type of function, or a certain type of input there. I'm not labeling it. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this all on the bottom. And I'm just gonna call this hold for future reference. And this is gonna be function pointer code. This is stuff I never actually learned how to do. So this will be useful for later, in case I need to use it like this. Because the one thing I'm worried about is, let's say you want to turn this into a battle system. There is a magic system. You want to select what magic spell you want to cast, right? So that means you're going to have to not only populate the menu with all the different items you want to put in there, but also, when you select the item and execute it as a menu item, you want it to point to a specific function. And maybe there's like a master, here's a magic spell function, but you got to be able to identify with the argument which magic spell you selected. So in that case, it would be like if I populate the menu with magic spells with magic ID, like 1 through 255 or something like that, and then I have to call the magic execute magic function from this character onto the other character using the argument of the magic spell ID, and maybe even from the caster and then the target or whatever. That's starting to become a little bit specific. I think for now, just being able to navigate menus would be successful enough. Okay, so let me follow what's going on with this next suggestion. So we're gonna have a menu callback struct. we have a menu argument struct. I mean, to be honest, I think at this point I'm most familiar with C. The problem is I don't know a lot of the advanced features of C. But I'm also familiar with Python, but that's not very helpful because Python, you just kind of throw a list of everything. Pretty much almost all my programming knowledge is self-taught as needed. And I have not had a need for things like polymorphisms or functional pointers or anything like that up until now. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, so you have a menu, something that you're calling a menu callback. And that menu callback is essentially a pointer that takes in menu arguments. But menu arguments are a struct, and the struct can contain whatever it wants to contain. Okay, I think I get that. It'll be a little bit, so using, let's call that, using a struct as a container for a function input. For menu item. Okay, for now, let's just get one menu to call another menu. We're gonna want a name. Let me go back real quick and just figure out how... 15? Yeah, 15 sounds like a reasonable limit for name. Menu name. So the idea would be I'll grab the name and use that as not only the label. Well, maybe I don't need to draw the label, but essentially the name is going to be what I use to draw the option in the parent menu. As far as what the layer is, I think I can count that by handling draw commands. So as far as handling who's active, okay, so we're gonna have an active flag or an active child argument. Active is equal to -1. Y active is equal to -1. If -1, no active children. We're gonna want the actual menu array. How big can we make this thing? Let's make it. How crazy do I don't make this? Okay, active child coordinates. I'll tell you what I'm doing this in a minute. So the menu array, we have to store all the menu objects, and they're going to be pointers to other menu items, at least for now. Or maybe I can make it like a generic pointer. Just real quick, see generic. Generic. Why can't I spell generic pointer Come on, I just need, what does it look like? Just need to declare one. There we go. Void, pointer, menu. Okay, we're gonna make that children is going to be, it's gonna be an array of these things. So it's gonna be void children. I don't know if I need to wrap it like this or if that's gonna help at all. How big do I want this? Let's do 16 wide, but like several deep. Like 32, so that way I can get like ridiculously low down there. And it's up to the program to make sure that has less than 16 by 32 options. Is that too many? Put a hard cap on this. 16 by 32 is what? By 12, I can do half of that. Let's do 8 by 32. I feel like that's plenty. Oh, and we need an active flag. Boolean is the menu open, so we know whether or not to draw it. Is that enough to actually populate the menu? Okay. So we already have a basic draw menu box, which I think we can move over into the menu item thing. Oh, wait. Need to save this and make the C file. C file does not contain the struct definition and only includes the actual include that we need to include. Which happens to be menu item.h. So we have draw menu box, which is going to be its own thing. From draw menu box, we have to do, I guess, a draw menu, or I guess not draw, it would be like write. I'll just call it draw menu children. And then I'm going to have to take in a menu item, or a pointer to a menu item. Let's call it men for now. And all I'll do is I'll just populate the whole thing by however many children we have. And I'll do just a draw menu item. And this guy can be recursive. So he'll call the children if they're selective or active or whatever and draw them. Okay. Okay, that guy's fine. So menu box is done, and then we're gonna do draw children and then draw menu item. So the actual children, draw menu children. Draws the children names up to character limit of menu. Of each child menu item. Okay. So we'll do some nested for loops. I is equal to that. I less than, what are we looking at? Menu X, I plus plus. And then same thing for J along the Y. Whoop. If not, men arrow we have to hard code some of this in here. Eight times I plus J. Crap, no. And you, child. Or menu children, sorry. So the pointer to menu children plus 8 times I times J, or 8 times I plus J. Equals null. Now I immediately know that I did something wrong here that's probably not going to evaluate properly, but all I want to do is just check to make sure that whatever I'm looking at is not null. And it's probably not going to actually work, but we'll see what happens. We're gonna want screen coordinates. I think we need screen coordinates. Or should that be taken in as an argument? Okay, so let's say we have int x, int y. Over here means we're going to pass them in over here. Means we need them over here. Okay, so we're going to pass in the starting coordinates over here for the actual box, and then we'll just shift down an appropriate amount to make sure that we're in the clear here. So we'll say starting draw location for top left entry. Now these sprites, how big were they? I forgot how big the fonts were. So we're going to come up with a little bit of a problem because we're going to have fonts that are... Let me just select this stuff. We get fonts that are... how tall? 12 tall. They're 12 tall. But they are... The boxes that I created are 10 tall. No, 8 tall. So I gotta do a little bit of math here. I gotta make sure that the number of entries that I actually put in here are gonna match up with the size of the box. That, or I could make the boxes smaller. In fact, that might not be a terrible idea. No, wait, I don't want to make them smaller. I want to make them bigger, don't I? But then they won't be... I'd have to make them wider than they are tall. Make them asymmetric, which kind of bothers me, but... You know what? Let's go ahead and do that, just to make my life easy. Let's go back in to menu GIMP file. And just do a quick little edit. So we need to increase the size of the image by about basically 50%. What do you guys? Where's the image size? There we go. We want 12 times 9 is 108. And then image to, or layer to image size. We're gonna stretch every one of these guys by about, what, 4 pixels, right? Okay. And this resize will ensure that all the math that I have to do with the font is already baked into the box sizes. Oh. Oh, start one higher. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eyedropper. And fill this Oh, no, this area. There should be... Oh, it occurs to me that I'm gonna have to draw this. There we go. Okay, all those check out. Do this one twice. 2 pixels worth of what I want. There we go. And a few more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So it's going to be a little bit lopsided, but still works. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Export as menu.tga. Place what we got. Not compressed. Top left. And let me just keep GIMP open in the background, just in case. Because I don't know if I'm going to have to do this again. There we go. And for the menu, when I load HUD, these guys are now 12 tall. And drawing the menu box, I'm now multiplying by 12. So let's just real quick. Let's include this into the main and see if I didn't break anything by doing that. Okay, good. Of course. Alright, let's see what this is complaining about. Line 32. Declaration of children as an array of voids. Am I not allowed to do that? I guess I'm not allowed to do that. Is it the, that kind of breaks everything afterward, but is it because of the parentheses? Should I just do it like this? 'Cause I need an array. And then, yeah, that line breaks, and then everything after that just doesn't work. So let's just go real quick and ask the Googles how to declare an array of generic pointers. See, I tried doing this. This should, this should work, right? I should be able to do the 2D version of that. Maybe I need to specify. Okay. 2D pointer array void. Do I need a second second little ampersand or whatever that thing? Or not ampersand, what's it called? Asterisk? Oh, sorry. Bumped the mic there. So declare 2D pointer or avoided pointer array. It's not quite what I'm looking for. So how do you do a 2D pointer array, though? That's what I want. I want this to be able to handle 2D, and I need to hold generic pointers. I mean, if anyone has any ideas for why this, because I feel like this line should have worked right here. Because I don't want to have to handle it one-dimensionally, because I feel like that's not going to translate well to what I want to do when I want to translate inputs. And then there's the alternative, where I make it an array of menu items. But that's in the middle of the declaration of the struct, so I don't know if that's even going to work. That's probably not going to fly. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Let's see, maybe if it was an integer, is it just the way that I'm doing it? Is it because it's a pointer at all? Oh, it just doesn't like me. What's going on? It should be able to handle that. First warning's at line 35. No semicolon at the end of a struct or unit. Oh, wait. I'm not allowed to do this. Can't initialize to a value in the middle of the struct. I'll go back and fix the menu item array later. I just want to make sure that the, dang it. Menu spread ID undeclared. Really? Line 68. It's saying that menu spread ID is undeclared. However, I'm including menu item. Menu item should be including menu, and it's not, which explains that. Okay, how about now? Okay, looks like it's... Ah, crap. Spoke too soon. J undeclared. Line 85. Oops. This type there. Okay, so the menu is displaying as intended, or at least the boxes are. We have to actually handle the menu part of the menu. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a menu to be able to contain pointers to little submenus or something that represents a submenu, and then have those pointers be able to essentially trigger. Well, I mean, we're not even there yet. We're not even at the triggering part. We're just trying to get menus to point to other menus. So I can select one, press a button, have the other one pop up. Now I'm looking at it. Does this even look right? I'm trying to figure out how many of anything is happening here. Okay, so what am I drawing here? I'm drawing 10 wide, 1 tall, and then a 4x4. What's a 0x0 look like? I don't know why it's so slow today. Be this slow. Okay, that's what a 0x0 is. So there's clearly no room to write anything, but I might be able to fit one line of something in there. I'm not sure. So if I were to stretch that out, but not have any additional vertical height to it, I think that's enough for one line. But why is it starting so high? Oh, because I put 0 and not 8. Let's just stretch this out a little bit. Really annoying how slow this thing's going today. I feel like instant. I don't know what's going on with my hard drive or something. I don't think anything else is writing in the background. Okay, so that technically is what happens when there's 0 height to it. So I put 0 internal tiles. But I feel like that's enough room to fit in. I mean, if I just count the pixels here. So that's going to be like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 2. What? 12 times 2 minus. So 12 minus 7 times 2. That's 10. Not quite 11, but. I'm not counting the corner pieces as that kind of height. So if I just add one bit of height on top and the bottom, so I just overlap the corner just a tiny bit in terms of its vertical extent, and I just offset it a little bit. That's enough room for a fair bit of text. So I can put one line of text on a 0 height box. Which is interesting. All right. Okay, let's go back and try to figure out why my menu item isn't doing the thing I want it to do. So we'll call it a void and a 2D array of pointers. It's not going to like it though. It's not going to tell me until the very end. Oh, it's compiling. Okay, so maybe I just screwed up some other way, like with those equals 0 in the declaration or what have you, and that was the problem. So maybe I can do this the way I want. This could work. Alright, so we have 8 by 32. That's probably excessive. We have menu items included in main. I think we already did that, right? Yeah, it's there. When I initialize the game, let's initialize a menu item. Initialize menu item. Okay, real quick, how do I copy a string into another location? Actually, let me see how I did it in Forsaken Plain, because I had to do that when I wrote in the main character. There we go. Sprintf. Sprintf, however you want to call it. Let me leave that item there. Menu item. Let's call this A. A. You have a name. Real quick, let's at some point I put in, here we go. Parent. What else do we need? We need this menu size, so I'm going to just call this a 1x1. Character limit of... Let's give it like a character limit of 6. Sounds right. In fact, let me just copy all this crap. A arrow is equal to 1. It's equal to 6. I'll keep that in mind for a minute. Arrow. No, these guys are 0. Child menu item. Oh, it's C1. Short for child 1. In fact, let's give it 2 menu items. Make it vertical. Let's give him nothing. And then A. So how do I do this? How do I make it so that 0, 0 is equal to C1? For the pointer to C1. Oh, okay, well I guess string copy is probably the correct thing to do. I'll go ahead and do that just to keep things clean. Now, I'm almost certain that the compiler is not going to like anything about this line, but I'm going to figure out how bad it is when I get to it. And I totally forgot to add in all this crap. There's no way this thing even compiles because of lines 94 and 104. Oh, this one's still A. Now, I haven't added any display code, so we're just going to see if this thing actually wants to run. I did not think so. Invalid type of argument for arrow. Oh, you know what? It needs to be a dot. Get these things mixed up a lot. It's probably not going to like these parentheses either. Implicit declaration of function string. What do you mean implicit string copy? Not part of the basic set of tools that you always have? I don't... Wait. Okay, when I did that sprintf, Yeah, I didn't have anything special going on when I did that. Alright, fine. Well, include stream. Spell that correctly first. Okay, line 80. It's its first complaint. Oh, okay, yeah. STR. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, line 89. Shh. Totally forgot about that one. Child 1. Child 2. Syntax error before thing. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Any day now. I honestly don't know what's going on today. I don't know if Sigwin just suddenly decided it hated me more than usual. Oh wow, compiled! That's a good sign. So if it compiled, that means I can look into my array of generic pointers and call things. So what I can do is, okay, for now, let's focus on getting these guys on screen. So first, let's go over the menu item. Menu box seems to be working just fine. Menu children, we'll do x is equal to, let me just go real quick and just see. Like I was saying earlier, we want to steal 1 pixel off of here and start drawing where? Maybe, okay, maybe 8 pixels in. So we want our first pixel to be on coordinate . Okay, so we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So coordinate 5, 9. So that's where our first drawing point should be. 9 over. And 5 down. And then we're also going to want to be able to change based off the selection, I guess. Now I'll keep this line because this line is stupid complicated for what I want it to do. What I want to be able to do is just take something like this, where you have men for menu, and then I, J. Right, I just want to check to see if this entry was nulled. And I'm hoping that this language will let me do that. Okay, so menu item is not null. X offset. I'm gonna want to do offset for each entry in X direction. Okay, offset for you then. Let's do that. X offset is going to be equal to 8 times men arrow. What do we got? Charlan. Times 1 plus character limit. Y offset is just going to be, I don't know, 12. Just to be fair. And where is my, there we go, print ASCII. Draw coordinates, int x, draw equal x. Y draw is equal to y. Set screen coordinates. Oh, we want bank equal to 0. This is color bank. I just call this C bank. Color bank. Okay, so the screen coordinates, they're going to be x draw is equal to x plus I entries times the x offset. And then Y draw is going to be Y plus J entries Y offset. We got X draw, we got Y draw. The string is now going to be there we go. Here's an easy way to do this. This is going to be child menu item. Menu item pointer to menu item. Child is equal to this. There we go. Set screen coordinates, and then we're also going to check if selected. Okay, so if men x active, why does it give me all these things that don't actually exist? We have x act, y act equals 0, and well, not 0, we want I, and y will be j. We'll set the seed bank to 1. We'll change color of selected. Child arrow, was it name? Yeah, and it's giving me these things that don't exist. Just have name, yeah, name. And the seed bank.